I've shown you how to connect to SQL Server and various other databases such as Access or MySQL. Now I want to show you how to write a simple data set. This is within SQL Server, but you could do this in any database like MySQL or Access. So here we have Microsoft SQL Management Studio. You can, if you don't have SQL Server, you can download the SQL Express edition, and this comes with it, or the standard edition. This is basically the tool to use to write queries and navigate through tables and different table relationships to create views or store procedures. And I'm just going to show a simple query here and how to create a simple data set. We have a whole nother video series that gets into detail and takes you through the beginner and advanced portions as far as creating queries and working with a database and creating data sets that you need. So here I have a simple query that basically gives me, I want to get my customer cells, I want to get my customers and my customer name and then the cells by customer. So I've taken my sales table, joined it to my customer table, and then join that to my person table. So my amount of cells, the total amount, is in my sales order header table, and then I have to join to my customer table to get my customers, and then to a person table which has the last name and the first name of each customer. And I'm going to give this an alias of amount. Okay, I can run this query. Okay, that's my data set. And now we're going to return this data set to a pivot table. But first, what I want to do is I'm going to actually make this into a view. Whoops. Okay, so I'm going to make this view so that we can now connect to this view from our pivot table. Okay, so that's our view. Let's just test it to make sure it runs. And all a view is just a way to put all your logic into a database object. So you can, rather than having to type that query each time, I can just select, rather than having to have this query each time, I can select directly from my view. Okay, so that's my view name. Now let's go into my pivot table here, and we're going to connect to SQL Server and specifically that view that I just created. We'll go to Data, and we're going to go from SQL Server. Let's get my connection information. Okay, so I'm now connected to SQL Server, so now I can choose a specific database. And you can see here it has my views at the top. So this is the view I just created. I'm going to save my password. I'm going to click Finish. We'll pull it in as a pivot table. And now here's the view I just created in SQL Server. So I'm going to pull my last name in and my amount. And let's format this. and we're going to call this customer. All right, so now I have my sales by customer within my pivot table, and all I have to do is right-click and hit the refresh button, and it goes out and gets the data from that SQL Server view that I just created.